Hey, welcome to the Teach Bigger podcast. I'm Chris Pratt, and I'm here with Chris Mosley.
Hello.
And how's it going today?
It's going. It's going. Another day in paradise. And by paradise, I mean my house.
So, oh gosh, what are we in week 7 now of the quarantine?
I don't know what day it is, really.
Right. We're somewhere between April and June.
Yeah, I think we're in May.
We are in May. In fact, today is the 4th of May.
Oh, it is the 4th of May.
So for all you May memers out there, may the 4th be with you.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know where that's from?
Showing us that you're a nerd.
Do you know where do you know what that's from, Mosley?
Yeah, I do.
What?
It's from Harry Potter. I'm not, look, I may not be a Star Wars fan, but I know at least that much.
There you go. Well, that's encouraging. You know, I'm not either. But let me tell you something. Well, there you go. Okay, I'm not a Star Wars fan, but let me do a shameless plug right now for Disney World.
But you do kind of remind me of Yoda. You do.
Don't say you do again as to confirm this.
Yeah.
So now, right now, everyone watching is comparing me to Yoda.
I know. And if you could go back over and do like the whole graphic thing and put a quick picture of Yoda like right on the side of you, I think it would get us like 1 million followers.
Well, I've been told I'm a man of many faces.
Come on, everybody. Comment somewhere that we need to do that. Anyway, right. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I'm going to do a little shameless plug here for Disney World, and it is this. A couple of weeks, actually, the week before the quarantine started, I had the opportunity to be the administrator on duty with the band as they went to Disney World. And it was like the last thing you could possibly do before the quarantine. But we went to Disney World, and we went to Hollywood Studios, which is where they have the Star Wars world, which I think it's now been open a couple of years. But it was funny because a couple of years ago we went, and I had taken the band, and it was under construction. And so we were like super excited about going in 2 more years because it would be open. And so we went, and I just have to say that is an amazing place. And I like Star Wars, it's great, but I'm certainly not a Star Wars person, right? But that was the rides they have there are like an experience like no other. There are moments where I didn't know if I was on a Millennium Falcon or whatever those things are called. Like it was crazy. Like they have people that are like characters in character on the ride, and they're a part of the ride. I mean, it was brilliant. Like,
well, that's how I felt when we went to Universal Studios with the Harry Potter world.
Yeah, but this was far to a whole another level. Another level.
I don't know, but I guess I would have to be there to experience it.
You do.
Or even know more about Star Wars, but I know more. I'm more knowledgeable about Harry Potter, so that's why I felt that way about the Harry Potter world in Universal Studios.
Okay, so I'm not a Harry Potter fan, so I don't know a lot about that. But imagine if you were on that ride, and it was like the characters from Harry Potter were like interacting with you in real life, like people dressed up like that, and that's kind of what the Star Wars ride is like. So yeah, it was crazy awesome. So
cool.
If Disney World ever opens again, I highly encourage you. It is worth the ticket price just to go to that world and ride those rides. They're that good. So anyways, okay, well, that's not what we're talking about today.
Thank you for that aside.
Yes, an aside. So since I look like Yoda, do I at least look like baby Yoda because like he's like cute and stuff?
No.
Okay.
Nothing. No. Sorry.
Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah.
So I was going to say something really nice, and now I've forgotten it. So I guess we can just
really nice.
Well, yeah, like I was going to have you share something good, and then I was going to share something good, and all I can.
Well, we can still share something good.
Okay, well, go ahead. Maybe I'll think of something after I've.
Something good.
It shouldn't be this hard. You did something great over the weekend, so you can share that.
Oh, the weekend. You know, I try not to overexert myself on the weekend. You know, I like to rest up. That's how I keep my complexion. But I went on a bike ride this weekend. I don't know if I talked about it last time. So I'm trying to gain some miles on my on my bike.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, before I moved, my farthest bike ride was, I think, no, I think it was 20 miles.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went that once, and it was like 19 miles. I just rounded it up.
Mm.
And then when I moved down here, it's more areas and more trails to go. So I've been building up my stamina again. So I went 10 miles, and then 15 and 18. And then last weekend I went 21. And then this weekend I went 27. So my goal is to get past 35 by the end of the month. No particular reason by that number, but just to get to that number by the end of the month, it will be a pretty good milestone. So,
That's good.
and then we'll go further from there. So I went 27 miles. I burned 2,700 calories.
Wow.
Right, and I wasn't like I think I'm getting in some type of shape because the next day, like I wasn't, you know, incapacitated. Like I was able
Right.
to still function. I was able to still function, and I like could move around, and yeah. So there you go.
That's
That's
good.
my, you know. Well, we're gonna keep going, so we'll try to. I'll do like one long ride a week, like the long one at the end of the week. So
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
there you
exciting.
go.
That's good.
That's my update. What about you?
Oh, I've just been keeping it real. Just I'm here with the children, and we spend a lot of time. What?
In contrast to not keeping it real like you normally
Right.
do,
I usually don't keep it real.
keeping it fake.
Right. So, no, we actually this weekend, me and the girls, which I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-month-old.
Oh, I thought you meant you went out with your girlfriends. Like the girlfriends, and y'all had like a salon day and stuff.
Yeah, me and the girls, we broke quarantine rules.
I'm glad you explained that to everybody so they know what you mean
Right.
now.
Me and my children that are all
There you go. There you go.
all 3
Gotta be-
girls, but I've been telling them for the past week or so that we were going to have a dance party night. And so this weekend we had a dance party. And so I don't know if this is going to, well, it just is what it is. I have children, and look, my girls are they're show girl. They're not show girls.
They're what now?
They're not show girls. What are they?
Is it
Like
what?
they love
We're just going further and further down this hole.
my 5-year-old. She's a show girl. No. They
I have to
love,
edit this. Go ahead.
right.
Mhm.
They love like
Showing performers. They're
performers. That's the word. Thank you. You'd think I could
There
have
you
thought
go.
about that, but they're performers, and like they love musicals. They love like everything about everything, as long as they get to dress up like either a ballerina or a princess. In fact, we had a knockdown drag out with my 3-year-old because the same ballerina stuff that she wants to wear every night for bed, she didn't understand that it was dirty, and it was just the end of the world because she has to be a ballerina, and she can't be a ballerina if it's dirty. So we had that, but that's beside the point. We turned on YouTube, and I don't know if you know that there's all kinds of Broadway dance tutorials, and so we turned on one for kids, and we were just trying to dance to the Newsies, and that didn't work. So then we tried to dance to Aladdin, that didn't work. So we settled for some kind of little, actually I think it was some people from Pakistan. Actually, it wasn't any kind of musical, but they were just teaching the kids how to jump and sway side to side. And I thought, well, this could work. So we had a dance party. We jumped, and we did the roly poly. I don't know if you're familiar with the roly poly.
No, I'm
It's
not.
this one.
Oh, okay.
At least that's what he said.
I thought that was a Tina Turner rolling on the river.
Well, hey, we all started somewhere. But,
Way different than what. Okay.
Yeah, and so we did some scissor crosses, and we just had a good time. So that was fun.
That's good.
It was good stuff. We had a dance party. So we have it on our schedule. We're going to try to do at least one dance party a week. We'll see if I can hold up.
That's good. If you could record the next one, please, and send it to me, so if I'm ever feeling down, I have something to laugh at.
My wife did record it, and at first I was very
Please just tell her to text it to me, like send me a quick snippet
right.
if she could. We'll keep this off the air, but I just want to see it.
I'm sure we will. So
If
that's
you could,
right.
I appreciate it.
Anyway, so good
So
stuff.
what were we
This is
talking
good.
about today?
All right, so we were thinking earlier about how right now the one thing that almost every teacher has in common is they sit in at least probably one virtual meeting a day. Okay, probably more.
I
If
think it
yours,
varies depending on what district you're in.
yeah, if yours is less, then good for you. I sit in at least three probably a day. Sometimes up to 5 or 6. It just depends. So, I know. So it just depends on your role. And I appreciate it because we do get a lot of things done, and it's a good way to interact with people. But, I think at this point, though, we're starting to see some trends emerge among virtual meetings. And I think that at this point, it's safe for us to begin to identify specific characters in every virtual meeting. So what we've done today for our Teach Bigger podcast is we have put together the top 10 characters you will find in every virtual meeting.
And I think it would be interesting. I want you to listen to our list and see where you fall in the top 10 and see which one you can identify or you're in denial that you are.
And a quick teaser is at some point in this list, Mosley and I will reveal the character that we are, because
okay, yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, so whenever we get there, we get
Whenever
to that
we get down
one.
to the end.
Yeah, so
Okay.
all right, so number
So
10.
we should start with 10.
Yeah, we'll start with number 10. So these are the top 10 characters that you will find in every virtual meeting. So number 10 is going to be called the Note Passer.
Okay.
All right, so tell us about the Note Passer, Mosley.
All right, so the Note Passer, I guess in class you have the person passing notes, but in meetings, if you're like in a faculty meeting, I guess you have some of your colleagues' numbers and things like that. These are the people that are texting each other in the meetings. So, in my experience,
is this the one you are, Mosley?
Huh?
Is this your character?
Not primarily.
Okay.
But I might have sent maybe one or two like messages or whatever, and you have to do it on the slide. So the funny thing about this is if you have your video on, then you don't want to seem like you're not paying attention. So you have to kind of do it like
just like the kids in class, right?
Just like the kids in class. So funny story is there have been several instances where I always have my video on in the meeting, and I think we have another one talking about the videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm listening, and I might have received messages from some of my colleagues saying, "Fix my face," because I looked like, I don't know, I was disinterested, which I was really paying attention. But I think I set my hand, like my head on my hand, and I was like that, and so you don't realize it, and so like I might have gotten a message from an admin on the faculty meeting saying, "Your face is priceless, fix it," and the other people saying things, and so
that's awesome.
I don't know. I guess it's just customary. People send messages while they're in meetings already, because I think adults are bad in meetings already.
Right.
It's just that this is even another step of it. So I wouldn't say this is my top one. I try to pay attention, and especially if it's like a faculty meeting and my principal's talking, because she's great. So, but it's so much information, and I want to show that I'm giving my full attention. So I'll try not to, divert my attention. But that's what a Note Passer is, in this instance. So you probably don't do that at all.
On occasion, but I will say this: I think that one of the indicators that you might be dealing with a Note Passer is those people whose video go off and they come back on.
And they go on.
And they go off.
Or they might have gone to the restroom.
They might have, or that may be what they want you to think.
Yeah.
So, all right. So,
all right. Note Passer, that's a good one.
The Note Passer. All right. So number 9. Number 9 is the Teaching Ninja.
So the Teaching Ninja, okay, is the person who never has their camera on. So like a ninja, they're invisible and you don't really know they're there. You just see their name there. And it's always okay. In the bigger meetings, it's okay. It's okay. Because they have to get the information. It's a lot of people, and I think some people are weird about it. Like they don't want people to see them, I don't care. But these people that are the consistent ones that never have their camera on, and they're probably like in the bed or taking a nap or something. Especially if if it's a bigger meeting and they're not having to give feedback. It's really awkward if it's a smaller meeting and you have like three people, and then a person has their camera off, and you can't hear their voice or something like that. Um, so I try to make sure I always have my camera on. There's only been one instance where I didn't, and it was like a meeting with over 150 people in it.
Right.
That we just were getting information. No one was talking back to the presenter and stuff like that, so it didn't really matter as long as we listened.
Right.
But I don't know if you had interaction with kids, Pratt, but like the kids are kind of like that too. And I just kind of set the thing. I'm like, hey, listen, if I wanted just to look at your name or do like just hear your voice, I would have a conference call. This needs to be as close as a real class as possible. So if you have the ability, which I know most of you do, you need to cut your camera on. I'm going to take you off the call. And like I said it in the tone that I normally would say it, and then like they all just started popping up, and I'm like, okay, thank you, because I'd rather see your face. You're saying mine, so I need to see yours.
Right.
So that's what a teaching ninja is. Have you experienced that so far, or what?
Oh yeah, we have a lot of teaching ninjas. I can tell you right now.
Do you probably always have your face showing, right?
Most of the time, again, like there's a few meetings that I'll go to where I've been invited, but I'm not necessarily participating in it. So I usually won't have that on because it's more for me to get information. But 9 times out of 10, I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
So, okay. Tell us about what are we at? Number 8.
We are at number 8. Number 8 is the Mother Hen.
Okay, the Mother Hen.
And so this is the teacher that they're doing double duty. They're handling their teaching responsibilities, and they're being a parent at the same time. And they don't have a space where they can totally be, like in silence and alone and closed off. So we've experienced that too. And usually this person on the call becomes the center of attention because they're like, oh, if they don't try to hide it, a lot of times they'll like say, hey, look, and the kid will come on the screen. And it's funny, you have two different type of parents. You have the one parent that's like, hey, y'all, this is my daughter, blah, blah, blah. And everybody's like, oh, hi. It depends on how big the meeting is. Or you have the parent that's like trying to shove their kid off the screen and and trying to act like everything's normal. And we're all seeing it and we're laughing at them. I've seen both so far.
Right.
Like I was on a meeting and one kid came and the kid was all in the camera. And the parent said, oh, it's your time now to go play with mommy. This is mommy time. Go with mommy. Go with mommy now. And the kid was like, no, what's going on? And then it's a very outspoken, like, I know the kid. And so he's very outspoken, like very curious. But that was super funny. But that was a small meeting, but you could tell the parent just wanted to just die inside of it.
That's
but
so
it was
funny.
But they're both pretty entertaining. But I've seen a lot of that. What about you? Have you seen any of that?
Yeah, and
I know you wait until the kids are asleep until you do any of this, so you don't have to be Mother Hen. But have you experienced any of that?
I mean, thankfully my wife's home too, so she kind of corrals everybody when I'm working. But I mean, there are a few times where we've had some interruptions. So yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
So,
but it's, I mean, they're working hard, and everyone excuses it because they know,
it is what it is.
But I've definitely seen a lot of it though. It's pretty entertaining.
So, all right. So number 7.
Number 7 is the bedhead. And I think that's kind of self-explanatory. So you have those that you see that just rolled out of bed. If they're brave enough to show their face, and they're the ones that just rolled out of bed at 9:58 for the 10 o'clock meeting, and they just got out of bed just so they can show their face and but they didn't have a chance really to make themselves up, if you will, and they're taking full advantage of the non-travel time to work.
Well, and I think there's something about when you're in your house, it's easy for you to feel like that's okay. because it's my house. But you're forgetting that it's still a professional environment. So
like in a minute or two, everyone will see you.
right.
You know, yeah. So
So
that I've seen that though.
okay, so then in contrast, we've got number 6.
Yeah, and number 6, and I always kind of giggle at this because I might seen a couple of colleagues like this. Is the fully dressed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all know, and you know, teachers are, you know, as professionals as we are, we're equally as laid back. I think, you know, whenever we're not on, we like to be relaxed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's an understanding that, you know, we're at home and we're in quarantine, so just an appropriate relaxed dress, you know, like don't get on the screen in a bikini or whatever, you know, but like not at the pool or something.
Right.
But you know, we're not at school and we're not in that setting, so it's okay to be relaxed, you know. But there are several people that might have glanced at in meetings and they're like in their full regalia, you know, like and they're like, you know, and you can tell they made sure like their background, like they had everything like scoot this over, and they have like a good background and all that stuff like that. And then the note passer, number 10, in the meeting usually comments about those people that are fully dressed in the meeting, because a lot of time those people are, never mind, I'm not going to be ugly, but so we've experienced a lot of that, and we usually make comments of those. Like even the, you know, principals and assistant principals, they're pretty laid back. Mm-hmm. My principal, she's a dresser upper. Like she likes to dress up, like she does it up. Some meetings, like she's been like that, but I think she's overlapping her meetings, so she's not overdoing it. But the most of the, you know, the assistant principals, they're just laid back, you know. And our like my AP, she's a glam. Like she's always glammed up, and she's been, you know, pretty relaxed.
That's good. That's good.
So I mean, but there are several that are in the meeting, and you're like, oh, they definitely prepared. They over prepared for it. So. You're like, we know that you just, you know. Anyway.
All right, so now we're about halfway through. So now we're at number 5. All right,
we are.
So number 5 is the chatters. The chatters. So tell us about the chatters, Mosley.
So if your platform, as mine has, like the little chat room in it, so you have someone presenting here, and then they're like people that are like in the chat room and they're like typing things, and that's just going up, and either they're adding to the conversation, or it depends on what they are. They could be saying something like totally different.
Right. A lot of times they're derailing the conversation. It's like they're having a side conversation in the chat box.
We're not paying attention here. It's like, shh, you know?
Okay, so wait, can we compare these to the same people that when the principal's talking at a faculty meeting, they're in the back talking to each other? And so it's like the same thing. They've just moved it to the chat box where everybody knows what they're saying.
Yeah.
Right.
And normally, and a lot of time, it's the people who don't have their video on. That's what I've noticed. It's like the people that they don't have their video on, but they're adding, you know, so like if the principal's saying, you know, this document that I had and I sent out, blah, 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 blah. And these people are the ones that saying, yeah, I seen it on the second page of the document. Like they're adding, you know, adding their 2 cents in the chat room, I guess, to show that my video's not on, but I'm paying attention.
Right.
So,
yeah. So if you're going to add your 2 cents, you should at least show your face.
Yeah. So those are the people I've noticed in the chat room. And my children, okay, my students, I call them my kids. My kids, you know, they're creative and they're band nerds, and so they will just go to town in the chat room. So I cut it off. I cut it off because they will talk, and I'm like, okay, let's cut this off because this is another avenue for y'all not to pay attention, and you're already around video games in your room, and you're doing everything else anyway. So let's cut the chat room off so y'all can pay attention. So anyway, they leave the chat room on in our meetings, but that I definitely saw a lot of the chatters going on, and some of it is productive, and they're giving little insights and things like that here, but some of it's like, what are y'all doing? But
right.
You know.
All right, so now number 4, and this is I'll be honest, this is the one that hits home to me. This is going to be my description, okay? And I'm curious to see, because I think at this moment I'm going to either be really relieved or really embarrassed that I might be the only person that does this,
You
but
might be. You might be. So you might be weird. Like you're showing how weird you actually are.
right.
It's fine. Go
But
ahead.
I have a feeling that some of my people out there, they're gonna totally relate, and they're gonna like slap their knee and say that's totally me too. So if so,
Okay.
show me some love in the comments or something like that, or maybe you'll just think I'm a nut. But okay, number
I
4
agree.
is the peeping tom. Now that sounds bad, but here's what I mean by that. So the peeping tom is the person who, while the meeting's going on, they're going to each person's box and pinning their video, and then they're like taking a look around their house. like I do that. Okay, so I totally do that. So what happens is, like, you know, if like somebody's just talking for a really long time, like I'll be like, and so I'll like go to one of the small screens and pin somebody and be like, oh hey, look, this really nice art on their wall or whatever. Like I'll just kind of like, because I figure if you're showing us, you don't care if we look, right? So I'm just curious, you know, and I'll be like, man, they got a nice house, you know, or whatever.
So if you're ever in a meeting with Mr. Pratt, do whatever you can do. Like check your privacy settings or something, and don't, you know, because while you're talking and you're giving good information, you're giving good content, he is checking out your house and seeing what books you have in the background, or if you cleaned your house.
No,
So
listen, I'm not doing it nonstop. I'm just saying from time to time, and especially if I get on like a meeting that maybe I don't have a big part in, maybe I'm just an observer, I'm just listening. So it's just a good way to get to know the people you work with.
or to be nosy.
Anyways,
my
I probably
God.
never should have said that. I'm not
I
doing
know.
it.
So now you're gonna know
I
it's
know.
Chris Pratt, Peeping Tom.
I don't do it nonstop, and I don't do it every time. I'm just saying sometimes I'm curious.
Yeah.
Y'all got some nice things.
Be careful about people you're on calls with. People. Yeah, okay. So,
Oh,
or clean your
anyways.
house or something. I don't
Right. Moving on. Moving on.
know.
All right. So
That's
number
funny and
3.
creepy at the same time.
Right. So number 3, I really appreciate this person. Number 3 is the world traveler. Okay. So the world traveler is this. It is not the person. Okay. Now get this. You have to get this clear. The world traveler is not the person who has a cool virtual background that makes them look like they're, you know, in the Grand Canyon or whatever. That's not who I'm talking
And
about.
those things are like my first experience with that was like one of the first calls, and it was one of my kids who was probably, I don't know, he's super weird. Okay, and I didn't understand what was going on, and then like he gets on the screen and he's like moving, right, and it's the the Golden Gate Bridge in the background, and he's like doing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And he's not saying anything. He keeps reappearing in this a different virtual background, and I'm like, this is so weird, so weird. Anyway, go ahead.
I love that. So, but that's not who I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the
Oh,
person
okay.
who, you know, 99% of us, we're all like sitting in our office, we're at the kitchen table, we're in the bedroom, we're somewhere, but it's just our house, right? But this person, they are out and about. I've seen people by the lake. I've seen people out in the prairie. I was confused about that one. Like, where are you at? They were by
You
the
must have
prairie.
some good service out there.
Exactly, right? But I think my favorite thing that I've seen happened actually today. I was on a meeting, and I noticed, because it was one of those big meetings, there's like 120 something people, right? So I'm kind of flipping through looking to see who's on the meeting. I know that comes as a surprise, but I'm just curious who's in. And I noticed that in the bottom of my grid screen, there's this lady, and she's in her car. Okay, you know, maybe you get good service in your car, or maybe you were out and you had to stop and, you know, run an errand or something. And then I realized she's driving. And she's like literally driving and like looking at the screen, and then she's like looking at the road, and I'm like, what is she doing? Like, this is not even safe. And the thing
I've had
was,
kids do that.
while we were at this moment in the meeting, they were actually showing us a slideshow. Like, everybody was watching a slideshow. So she's like watching the slideshow, you know, and then you see her park her car, and then she puts on a face mask, and she gets out of her car, and she's like walking in, and she walks into some place. I actually think it was the doctor's office. So, I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm not saying she did anything wrong, but it was just like really funny because she's like out and about and
He took
traveling.
the meeting along with her.
But you know what? She was at the meeting, and you know, that's responsible, because sometimes you got to go to the doctor's office. So, you know, it is what it is. But I just thought it was hilarious because
Yeah, I've had several kids that they're at different places. They're like in their car, one kid was at an auto mechanic shop.
Mm-hmm.
Like he was there because he works there, so like he was there.
Yeah, but you have to commend those people because they're making it a priority to be at the meeting, and that is certainly something good.
Yeah, and I don't mind at all. I just
Right.
if they're there, I'm like, hey, this is all part of the experience. So hey, how's it going? But yeah.
All right, so the world
The
traveler.
World Traveler.
All right,
Okay.
so number 2, I'm gonna let you take this one, Mosley, because it's your favorite.
So number 2 is the Piggy Becker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is already one of my pet peeves, like in real life. Okay, and if you don't know what the Piggy Becker is, it is this person in the meeting. It is a person who does not present new information, but yet reiterates something that was just said that extends the meeting even more. So, example in the virtual world, you have a presenter, because on most meetings, you have somebody like leading the meeting or talking one at a time and stuff like that. And then you have the people who are not the host and not speaking. And in my experiences that I've, experienced in our virtual world, is there are people that just say they unmute themselves and they say, "Yeah, I just kind of want to piggyback off of what the person said," and they just kind of keep going on, and it's like they just want to get themselves off of mute, and want themselves to be heard in the community. And I there were a lot of people that were doing that, and I'm like, we really don't need any extra right now. Like we're getting everything that we can from the presenter, and we appreciate you. And we know that you're here because we can see your name. And so you don't have to necessarily like get yourself off of mute. I guess like to raise your importance, in the grand scheme of things, or maybe to move your square closer to the top. I don't know if you speak,
Right.
or just let people know that you're there. But don't say the same thing over that someone just said in the meeting, because it's adding to our time here.
Yeah, just check yourself. Just check yourself. If you find yourself starting with the phrase, "I just want to piggyback off of what you just said," then check yourself.
Then just stop and put yourself back on mute.
Right. All right, so that's number 2, the Piggy Becker. All right, so here we go. The number 1 person that you're gonna see in every virtual meeting, no matter if there's only 2 people, you will always have the ventriloquist.
Okay, so let me tell you about that. And this is probably one of my funny experiences so far. And so in the big meetings, there's this mute function. And the mute function is designed so there's not a overwhelming sound or whatever, And so on the different platforms, sometimes you come into the meeting, you're already on mute, just to kind of get the sound. And some you have to unmute yourself. So I experienced this with one of my classes recently. And for the most part, I'm the host on the meetings, and so I'm always off of mute. So I have a lot of kids, and so I wanted to stop by another meeting. And so to make it easy transition, right, I told my kids to say, if you give me just a second, I'm going to say hi to other class so they can see my face and whatever. So I stopped and I put myself on mute here, which I never do, never have to, right? And then I turned to my computer on the side and I start talking to the other class, like, "Hey guys, just wanted to stop by and say, hey, I miss you guys, and I hope you have a good class. And if you need me, you can reach me and this and that." And then so in my, I'm in the flow, so I just turn back to this computer and I'm like, "Okay, here's the important announcements. Blah 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 blah." And the kids are talking like some of them have taken themselves off of mute, and they're talking, which they don't normally do. And I'm like, "Okay, put yourselves on mute because I can still hear you." And like they're doing it, it's like they're not listening to me, right? and I'm like, "Hey, I still can hear you. Like, put yourself on mute." I'm like, and this and that, and they're like, "Mr. Mosley," and I kid you not, I might have gone on for like 4 minutes or something like that. And they're like, "Mr. Mosley, you're still on mute." And I just stopped and I just die laughing, and they all laugh with me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "See, that's why I need y'all to like give me a nod or this or that, because it sounds the same to me, because the entire time I'm just talking to myself,
Right.
and and I get nods from you that I know that you're with me, and I really couldn't tell. No wonder you guys were talking while I was talking.
Right.
So anyway,
I think that's so funny.
I felt so stupid, but I just had to laugh at myself because I've seen people do it too, and I guess with kids they're more forgiving. But anyway, that's happened to me once.
Yeah. Well, what I love about the ventriloquist is that they're always in every meeting at least once, and it's usually the same person multiple times in a meeting. So it's like, we had a meeting today, and the same person over and over kept like talking with it muted, and so we were just laughing so hard because they couldn't get it quite figured out. So
Yep.
all right,
So that was good. Do you should run down the list again?
Yeah,
just
go
so
for
we
it.
can...
Go for it.
Okay. So number 10, the note passer. Number 9, the teacher ninja. Number 8, the mother hen.
Bless their hearts.
Number 7, the bedhead.
Wake
I
up.
feel like I have bedhead right now.
Right.
Number 6, the fully dressed.
Go ahead.
Number 5, the chatter. Number 4, the Chris Pratt.
Nah.
I'm sorry, the Peeping Tom. Number 3, the world traveler.
Yeah.
Number 2, the Piggy Becker, and Pratt. Number 1, leave us with it.
The ventriloquist.
There you go. Those are pretty good. Now,
good
here's what I want you to do. I want you in your next meetings, I want you to like see if you see these personalities and see if there are any more that you see. And maybe send us an email at info@teachbigger.com, and maybe we can talk about some more that we see as this online meeting culture evolves.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So,
Yeah.
all right, have a good day, have a good week.
All right, well, keep it on.
That's right. We'll see you back next time.